On May 18, 1965, the streets of Damascus were packed with thousands of screaming people. They had come to watch the death of a traitor. The man standing on the gallows, wearing a long white scroll detailing his crimes, was known to them as Kamel Amin Thaabet, a wealthy businessman, a patriot, and a close friend of the future president of Syria. But the man dying on the rope wasn't Kamel. He wasn't a businessman, and he certainly wasn't Syrian. His name was Eli Cohen. He was a husband, a father, and a filing clerk from Israel who had pulled off the most dangerous magic trick in the history of espionage. He didn't just infiltrate the enemy, he almost became their leader. This is the story of the spy who saved a nation, but couldn't save himself. Before he was a legend, Eli Cohen was a nobody. In 1957, he was working as a translator and filing clerk in Tel Aviv. He was an Egyptian-born Jew who had arrived in Israel full of patriotic fire. He applied to the Mossad. He wanted to serve. And the Mossad rejected him. They thought he was too emotional. They worried his Oriental appearance and background were too risky. They told him to go back to his desk job. But while Eli filed papers, the northern border was burning. Syrian artillery on the Golan Heights was raining fire down on Israeli kibbutzim every single day. Israel was blind. They had no eyes inside Damascus. The intelligence chiefs realized they didn't need a soldier. They needed a phantom. They needed someone who could pass as an Arab so perfectly that he could sleep in the lioness den without being eaten. They revisited the rejected files. They found Eli Cohen. They fired him from his desk job and told him, "You are going to be reborn." The training was brutal. Eli had to erase his identity. He wasn't Eli anymore. He was Kamel Amin Thaabet, a wealthy Syrian businessman whose parents had emigrated to Argentina. He had to learn the specific Aleppo dialect of Arabic. He had to memorize the Quran. He had to learn how to transmit Morse code with a hand that looked like it was just tapping a table. But you don't just walk into Syria and say, "Hello, I'm rich." You have to build a legend. In 1961, Mossad sent him to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Why Argentina? Because that's where the Syrian money was. There was a massive community of rich Syrian expats there. Eli, or rather Kamel, burst onto the scene. He wore expensive suits. He threw money around at cafes, and he spoke passionately about his beloved homeland Syria, which he yearned to return to. It worked terrifyingly well. Eli was charismatic, generous, and seemingly ultra-patriotic. He started hosting lavish parties. The Syrian expats loved him. At one of these parties, he supposedly met a military attaché named Amin al-Hafiz. Remember that name? Amin al-Hafiz would soon become the President of Syria. And he would come to view Eli Cohen not just as a friend, but as a brother. Eli played the role of the exiled patriot so perfectly that these powerful men started telling him, "Kamel, why are you wasting your talent in Argentina? You must come home. Damascus needs men like you to build the Ba'ath Party." This was the golden ticket. The enemy wasn't just letting him in, they were inviting him. In January 1962, Eli Cohen left Argentina. He traveled through Europe and boarded a ship to Beirut, then a car to the Syrian border. He was carrying a radio transmitter hidden in the false bottom of a food mixer. If the border guards checked that bag, he would be dead before sunset. He handed over his passport. The guard looked at him, stamped it, and said, "Welcome home, Mr. Thaabet." Eli Cohen was inside. He had successfully infiltrated the capital of Israel's deadliest enemy. But getting in is the easy part. Surviving, that is something else entirely. Join us for Episode 2, where Eli befriends the president, tours the secret bunkers of the Golan Heights, and almost becomes the Deputy Minister of Defense. Please like and subscribe.